Three very different perspectives today. We had somebody talking about business opportunities through the international network of JCI. We had somebody talking about how to set smart goals for yourself and how to make sure that setting these smart goals also open up new doors, be courageous. And we had somebody who talked more from the wider perspective of being in a bigger company. My first question to all three of you would be, if you could give one tip to all the young students out there that have this dream of becoming an entrepreneur, what would it be? And why would that be your tip?
One tip. I think one of the things that I would say is the most important is to, let's say, believe in yourself, but it's like a two-fold knife or two-bladed, or how you call it. Yeah? So in that sense, you believe in you're the biggest salesman to yourself, so that you will believe in whatever you want to do, but at the same time thinking also that how you really, what do you need to do to accomplish it as well. So a bit of a critique, but not a critique in a way that, no, this can't be done, then probably you won't achieve the thing that you want to achieve. But thinking, let's say, convincing yourself and thinking that what is really good about it, and at the same time a little bit critique, but I think this is like the belief in yourself. So you believe that even if you see the problems, you know you can fight them, you can make them better. So the belief that this thing you want to do, this is different, you're different, and you can achieve difference in the market, whatever the market is. I think this is the one thing that I would say is important. Believe in yourself. Yeah.
Rasmus, I see you nodding.
So I strongly believe that you should have belief in yourself. But I also think that you should, to actually build up on Gaspar's idea when he was presenting, is to get uncomfortable. I strongly believe that necessity is the mother of all invention. So if you don't push the boundaries of what you think is conventional when you're trying to solve problems, if you don't even try to look for problems because you have your horse things in where you can only see the straight line, then you won't become an entrepreneur. Or you might be maybe just a reseller, but you won't get the whole emphasis of what being an entrepreneur is to be uncomfortable, is to do and challenge yourself and try new things, and then understanding that achieving something beyond that is happens when you put yourself in a different situation. So yeah, be uncomfortable. I think that's the biggest thing.
Okay, my turn. So
yeah, Casper, yeah. Anything to add more? Yeah. So we have to believe in ourselves, at the same time we have to be uncomfortable. So what's the last golden corner of the triangle?
Find teammates who complement your weaknesses, or did I say it correctly in English? So things that you're not good at, find people who are good at those things, and that's 1 point.
Okay, so we have to have the right team, be uncomfortable, and believe in ourselves. I think these are 3 very good tips. Thank you very much. I wanted to zoom a little bit in because both of you mentioned already the importance of the team, but I found very inspirational from your talk, Mart, is that you said the investment for a bigger company to invent or to pursue a new product might be more risky or bigger than from the personal perspective when I start a new company. How do you feel this? Would you share this kind of opinion, or would you say that there's more to lose as a person than when you do this new product for a company?
I'm not sure I got the question. What do you mean?
My question being is like when it comes to risk taking, right?
Yes.
When I'm an employee and I pursue a new product for a company, it's not my personal money, my personal reputation that is on the line. So the risk might be perceived for me as a person as lower.
Right.
But the investment that the company makes might be financially a lot bigger.
Right.
So how do you see this trade-off between those 2 elements?
Right.
Well, I think that anyway, when you're innovating or creating something new, you have to take the responsibility. Either you're an entrepreneur or working inside a bigger company. My definite personal opinion is to, if you have the possibility, then then I would always start or try to do it myself. If I have to choose under a company or by myself, then by myself.
All right, so you would definitely take that risk and go for it by yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, so I actually have a funny story here, which is, okay, so it might, because the way I understood Mart was that it might cost more if you're trying to innovate as a big company. And I completely agree, but I think it's also based on the mindset. So, so it was early 2010s, a startup in Estonia was actually recruiting actively. They were trying to solve a problem in an innovative way, and they were looking for a head of business. So they got loads of applications, and one of them was from a VP of Samsung, straight from South Korea. And obviously their eyes lit up, like he wants no money, he wants to take on the challenge, he wants to do something like worthwhile. So obviously they hired him on the spot. Like, so the person came in with a massive network of people who he could call whenever he wanted to. He also moved all of his family to Tallinn, everything was great. Until they had to solve the first problem. And the guy had absolutely a great vision on how to solve this. And he went to the founder, was like, okay, 50 million to solve this problem. And the founder looked at him and went like, no, we have 500. Oh, 500,000? No, we have 500 euros. So this is, so when you're solving problems, in my opinion, in like big companies, you also need a lot more capital, because you can't risk on the downside of it failing. You need to make sure that everything is by the book, everything is not done like Uber went on the market or anything like that. So obviously you have more resources. You also have highly trained employees, highly skilled people that require a lot of money to mobilize. But when you actually, so automatically that translates into it costing more. Taking more time and being more thorough, because a bigger company can't fail publicly. A startup can easily fail publicly. You failed, great. In Estonia, you can literally, I think the stores, if you're not doing it online, are actually next to each other. You can shut down a company and start a new one in a matter of 15 minutes. So I agree that the risk of failing is much bigger in a bigger company, Mart. But I think that that actually innovative doesn't have to be more risky as a big company or a small company, just because of the way it's set up. It's because of the massive pressure we put. Because again, if I start Rasmus Incorporated, I can end Rasmus Incorporated. If I do this in Microsoft, I can't end Microsoft, right? I think so.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Well, when I think about the risk part, is that, to me, the success, whether you work in a smaller or bigger company, it always starts with your mindset anyhow. So if you're thinking about that I'm, let's say, something small of a big thing, then this is a definition of failure in every big corp you will take part in. So in that sense, if you think about, I want to, let's say, hack this, change it, do something different. So in that sense, thinking as a person, whether you're individual company or working in a company that has 10 people, but thinking this way, but later on taking into account that that's a bit more people than 10. So I think this is a key to success. So in that sense, you're thinking as a small company, because if you think we're big, we have this big process, we start to move stuff around, this is a formula for failure again. So in that sense, you think about what needs to be done. I think wherever you do, whether it's a smaller business or bigger business, it's the same stuff. What needs to be done? But the second part is the orchestration. So when I want to do it in 50 markets at the same time, I probably need to be Microsoft, because I have the necessary resources to actually execute it. Yeah? But if you are a people of 10, then probably you need to select a few markets that you can easily tackle on. But with markets of 50, then you will say, okay, you will focus on the markets, you will deal with the marketing strategy, the product part will come from here. So you need to put all of this stuff together. So if you miss something, then the failure would be the same. But in that sense, the failure is not the problem, I would say. The problem is that you will learn something that, okay, sorry, I forgot something, and next time it will be better anyhow. So I think it's whether it's small company or big, doesn't really matter. But as you have bigger crowd there, then probably the probability of making mistakes is lower, because there are lots of people with lots of expertise that will be on your team to help you together be successful. So whatever you're doing to make it a success. So in that sense, they're different, but at the same time very similar as well. So the risk part, I would say, you will not risk your career there, but if you don't innovate, you're risking your career. So I think it's the same part with a smaller or bigger company. So no innovation, no career. And I think it's the same when you're like a entrepreneur working only for yourself as well. So no risks, I would say probably no money. Because if there's no risks, then probably there is a huge competition. Yeah.
Okay, thank you all very much. I would like to end up today with the question where we started actually, which was about networking. And I would like to hear from you your most inspirational or fascinating networking story. So how did you get into contact with somebody that you had never imagined, or how did you find somebody perhaps on the street that helped your business forward? Maybe you have some thoughts on this as well. And in the meantime, I would like to remind people online, should you have any questions, then this is right now your last moment to ask from these three guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I won't call it networking. My example, since we're already finishing up, then a quick example. I needed to get in contact with a certain person who was in charge of sales and marketing in a big company. And after I got the old marketing director left, gave me the new one's personal email that I spammed a little bit, tried to get like some reaction, some number, something. Didn't get any. And what I did, since the company was in Estonia, I went there. I tried to get in contact with she, and she wasn't there. It's not in Tallinn where we're based, but in other side of Estonia. So I went in, tried to get in contact with her. She wasn't there, and then I found somebody who was nice enough to give me her number and email. And the whole process, and today we're pretty much negotiating a nice solution. And then everything took place in like 4 or 5 months. So it was like this consistent and then taking some, I don't know, again, courageous risks or steps to get it.
So you drove all the way to another part of Estonia to meet somebody that wasn't even there.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so my story is actually about how I got my first job. So I was studying in Edinburgh, as I previously mentioned. And I'm a naturally almost annoyingly curious as a person. So when ex-alumni of the same course came to talk in one of those networking events that I'm sure EBS hosts a lot of, I got to talking with him, but we didn't talk about business at all. So we talked about solar energy. So he worked in solar energy, but I was fascinating. So I wanted to write my master thesis on solar energy, and we talked about everything, from the ins and outs, how to do community solar, how to do residential, how to do business solar. But I didn't even know, or I hadn't correctly connected on where he actually worked or where he was from. But yeah, and I found out he loved football and everything like that, and then I left. And you know, when you talk to people, it's like, okay, what you should do networking is that you should really make your intent clear and everything like that. But I didn't think of it this way. Again, I was 24 at that point, no, 23 at that point. So and I had done a lot of internships, but not a real job. At least not a job in the career that I wanted to. And that was it. And then a month later, he actually calls me and says, okay, so I'm not sure if you know this because I was expecting a follow-up email or a message, but I work in private equity in Bluefield, and we buy solar and we flip it and then we optimize it. And like you were so fascinated, I was sure that that's what you were doing, and I was like, okay, I didn't know you were in solar. I didn't know you worked in what is now a top 3 sustainable and solar investment firm. And he was like, okay, but we really liked you, so we're gonna bypass the first stage and just like have an interview with us, and maybe we'll like click it. And actually, that's how I ended up working in London when I was still writing my thesis for Edinburgh. Purely on the fact that I was curious about what he did because he seemed interesting and he liked the same thing I did. So yeah, networking. Maybe it's not even network. Maybe you make a friend.
Okay, that's a very nice story. Thank you. Mart, anything
Yeah,
that
I was
pops
just.
into your mind?
Well, to me, it pops that the networking part is usually you think that what to say. Yeah. So what will you say? You will go to an event and what you will say. So my idea was that I'm just a curious person and I just want to know things. And well, that's the truth. So I remember that one of my customers in my previous companies, I was just walking towards them and I was asking what they do. Yeah, like they usually answer. But my thing was that I wanted to understand what is the, let's say, value they create, or where does the money come from, or how are they differentiated from the competitors. So that was my idea, not knowing about their business. And the discussion went onwards, and I was like the ignorant guy, yeah, who didn't know stuff. So I asked the questions like, that for example they said this can't be done because of blah blah blah, and I was saying, but you have this and that, isn't like you put it together? No, it can't be done. I said, why? Maybe I'm just, like I said, I'm ignorant. Maybe you can put these two together and make a good product. Well, essentially yes, but you know, blah, blah. So basically what I want to do is I was a bit like challenging, but at the same time I was being ignorant. Yeah. So it's in that sense, even if you say something strange, they will forgive you for that. Yeah, because you're ignorant. But the point was that from that discussion we came to how to, let's say, think differently about what they do. So next time when we met, we were discussing the idea further. So how to make it different, although you put one and one together and it doesn't add up. So this was the story, and now we understood that it actually does add up if you just change it a bit. So I think the curious mind and asking also the ignorant questions and not being afraid of asking the ignorant questions, I think this is the key there as well, because I think it opened up our relationship quite fast, because I was interested in what they do and everybody likes that.
Yeah.
And at the same time it was beneficial for both of us, so I could innovate in my mind, and together in later stages we could actually fulfill the idea what we were discussing about. So their success was my success in a way.
Thank you very much. I saw that somebody was very curious about the 500 euro story. How did the Samsung head of sales solve his problem, or was it head of sales, right?
So it was a Samsung VP, and
VP.
actually, so once he understood the budget and that you don't have to roll out actually in all the markets. So it was actually really good what Mart said, that because he was thinking that you need to roll out in everywhere globally, right? But if you could only do it in, for example, as a test run in Estonia, and you could put some elbow grease on it and do it yourself, or with the team that was there, you could do it not with 500 euros, but with was it like 1,200 or something? But yeah, they rolled out their MVP like that. So yeah, so Mart was actually really on point without knowing my story, because we had not met before.
Elbow grease, I like that one.
Right?
I haven't heard that one before.
No. Elbow grease.
That's excellent.
Okay, I think that there's another question for the middleman, which is Kasper. What is the one thing that has stuck with you from listening to Zig Ziglar and Brain Tracy?
Good question. Those were the ones that I listened 8 years ago. There's probably some points or something that are with me to this day, but I can't put my finger on it if it was from them or from somebody else. But definitely I remember how Zig Ziglar described selling and going door to door, and if I'm not mistaken, then also this humility and well, in English humility is a really nice word. In Estonian it doesn't really mean the same, but the idea behind it. So I think yeah, that.
Okay, thank you very much. As a final thought, wrapping it up for today, where do we see you guys in 5 years? As I just learned that we have to set smart goals for ourselves, because then we become CEOs. So that is what we all want. So what are your goals for the next 5 years, or what is your next smart goal?
For me, it's quite simple. That for me, every year is the same. That I always need to do things that I'm not good at. So in that sense, if I go and do something that I'm not sure of, I might have some ideas, but rather that I'm always in, let's say, out of my comfort zone, which is a popular thing to say, but truly it's where you learn the most. And I think for me, this is the main goal, to never forget that in order to learn, you need to do something you don't know. So it's easier to do something you know, but just do the opposite. So you use the things you already know, but at the same time, always expanding your horizon. So for me, the goal is that even if it takes 5 or even 15 years from now, that I still have the urge to learn something new. So you look at the thing, you see a product or service, it's always quite simple, and you take it into pieces. So I can do this as well, probably, yeah. So I think having that mindset, for me, it's a goal for the next 5 years for sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you. So, okay, thought about it on spot, but have a gut feeling that we're going to have 2.5 million turnover and a couple of products out.
That's a very ambitious goal, but I think that it is very
Achievable.
nice one. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. And well, I will check in between to see how far you are along with the 2.5 million.
Stay in touch.
Exactly. Rasmus, any final thoughts on this question?
So a personal goal, I, out of principle, don't set longer than 2-year goals, because I think things change so much. If you would ask me 5 years ago what I wanted to do, I wanted to work in a massive global corporation, and now I scale startups, so obviously completely different. But what I think is that I want to be happy getting up in the morning and doing what I do. I think that's the actual goal for me. I do think that one of the biggest things here is that continue to be curious, continue to care, continue to learn. But ultimately, when I look around me, it doesn't matter if I'm in a favela in Brazil, or if I'm in or if I've taken Jeff Bezos's house and he's somewhere else. I don't think that matters, at least to me personally. But just to be happy getting up in the morning. And don't get me wrong, I mean, let's be realistic. You can't be happy every day, but in a week, you will have more happy days than not, right? That's the thing, because you will have difficult things that you're gonna face. But yeah, overall, that's my goal, and that always has been my goal. Yeah.
That's really good, and I agree. Yeah. So then you get your energy as well. So whatever you do, so it's whether you try to innovate, or let's say have the want to innovate. Mm-hmm. But in the end, it comes down to what you want to do. If you don't want to innovate at all, then maybe you don't have to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because being happy, I think it's where you get your energy anyhow from.
Exactly. If you're miserable, you're actually not going to achieve that much, because you can drive forward on pure willpower for only a really limited amount of time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk about anyone, so I'm really big into sports and basketball. If you talk about the greatest of all time, so like Michael Jordan or LeBron James, they didn't get there because of sheer work. I mean, so many other people worked as much as they did, but because they loved the game so much, they were happy constantly. So the amount of work they put in was multiplicative compared to other people who were doing exactly the same hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thanks for that.
Yeah. And having the positive attitude, sorry, just to not
No,
to
of
take
course.
your side, but having the positive attitude, like you said, it's when you have a failure. I would say the failure thing or the word itself, it's deceptive in that sense. It's not a failure. It's rather that it didn't go the way you planned. So you have the positive mind about it to learn something. So you learn something about it, and I think the state of mind, this will get you through. So in that sense, there are not bad days. There are days that you got your things the way you hope they went to be, but if you didn't go, if they didn't go the way you anticipated they will go, then it's still a success, because if you would know already the stuff, then you will do something wrong anyhow, because you will be doing repetition, the same stuff you already know where it was going. So in that sense, you were changing and you found out something that you don't know, which is a good thing. So you should be happy about it in a way, yeah?
Yeah. What is the Thomas Edison quote actually? It's I didn't fail 1,000 times trying to fix a light bulb. I just found 1,000 ways that it didn't work. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
it was
exactly that,
Edison. Yeah. I find there's 1,000 ways that doesn't work. So I'm 1,000 ways closer to finding the thing that works.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mart. That is the way. It's
Very positive. Very
Yes,
positive.
very positive. Okay, so I think we can wrap up with learn from your failures. Thank you very much for joining our incubator today. Once again, thank you very much for our 3 great guests. It was very inspirational to talk with you guys, and we hope to definitely see you back when it comes to any other kind of topics. This was it for today. Thank you very much, and hope that you join us during the next session as well. Have a nice evening.
Thanks.
Bye.